Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lewis here. Hope you're having a good Sunday. I'm going to talk about this trendy topic. It's sad that it has to be a trendy thing, but dopamine detox. How to do it. Why is it important? Stay tuned. I've got a whole lot of personal experience with the subject. Me being a millennial, overwhelmed with dopamine stimulation from a super young age. Internet, video games, junk food, even harder addictions going on later in my life. If you end up by liking the video, finding any use in it, please like, subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton when it comes to getting this channel out there to a wider audience. So, anywho, why is something like dopamine detox important? So if you were like me and you had different addictions, even soft addictions, sugar, junk food, the internet, social media like this, you come to realize that there's kind of a plateau in how good something can make you feel, right? So dopamine's a chemical, a neurochemical that makes you feel good when you do something, eat sugar, score a point in a video game, somebody likes your post on Facebook, it gives you a short-term burst of feel-goodness, right? The thing is, dopamine doesn't last very long. It has you really soon looking for something else. Now, if you are bombarded with dopamine-stimulating things in your environment all the time, then there's a point where it stops doing so much for you. Like, it's almost like caffeine when your tolerance gets very high, or marijuana, alcohol, drugs. You use it so much that it takes more for you to get that same level of satisfaction out of it. That is why something like a detox is important. So if you've ever taken a break from caffeine or taken a break from alcohol or weed, marijuana, you come back to it, you notice how, oh wow, this has such a powerful effect on me. Yeah, I feel so good. This is why a dopamine reset is important. So, me, I even had the hardest addictions you could think of. Heroin. I smoked weed every day, took edibles for a really long time. And I got to a breaking point where, wow, this is not even doing anything for me anymore. Do you understand the root of why you do these things in the first place is really important, right? So a lot of times it's to numb some pain or to escape boredom or escape a feeling in some way, right? And it becomes that dopamine flood that you get becomes a way to try to cope with those difficult feelings. So this section of the video is really about the root cause. So root cause, a lot of times it's trauma, it's unresolved feelings, it's pain, it's depression. So working on these things is huge in whatever way you got to do it. I'm big on meditating, writing in a journal. If you got a therapist or can see one, do it. If you need to process some grief for somebody that passed away, do it. If you're grieving over a relationship, do it. Spend some time doing that work, because a lot of us just go to these addictions, these dopamine stimulating addictions, to try to numb or cope with these difficult feelings. I find it very important to talk about this because if we don't do that inner work, then the cycle of addictions just continues. It's no shame. Trust me, almost everybody has some inner stuff they need to work on. I've been there. I've childhood stuff, letting go of the past, integrating some pain, some angry feelings I had. So the path out of the dopamine addiction is serotonin building addiction. So serotonin is a happiness chemical as well that is kind of more oriented around things that give you long-term satisfaction. So starting a project, learning a language, learning something new, something that takes adding a little bit of effort a day that builds up into long-term satisfaction later, or even like going for a walk. It doesn't give you this big boost of dopamine right away, but after walking for 30 minutes, you start to feel a lot better and relieved. And the thing is, these things last longer. The satisfaction feels better for longer. Meditation, journaling, exercise, right? Exercise, you don't get super fit just from exercising for 2 days, but do it for 3 months, 6 months, and you're going to feel amazing. And that amazing feeling lasts longer. And because of that, you won't seek these short-term addictions so much. You won't want to. So what I found is adding things in rather than taking things away is a good mindset to have. If we're focused on, I need to get rid of the sugar, I need to get rid of the junk food, I need to get rid of the video games, and it can be more difficult to do so. It's better to focus on what you want to add into your life, things that are going to enrich your life. I really want to learn a new language. I want to learn a new skill. I want to exercise and feel healthier. That is going to make it so that quitting the little habits are much easier, because it's going to be like, I'm exercising, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling healthy. Why do I want to eat a bunch of sugar? Why do I want to smoke cigarettes? Because now that's going to throw off my newfound long-term satisfaction. Focus on adding in good habits, and the bad habits will be easier to let go of. Huge. So another big pointer, how you start your day matters. I go straight for water now, where before I used to go to coffee. I still have some caffeine, but I wait a couple hours. I drink a liter of water first thing when I wake up. I go do some stretching, some yoga. I meditate. That way I'm focused on my breathing. I feel my nervous system more regulated, rather than going all these spikes as soon as you wake up. Cortisol spike from coffee and sugar right away, and your mind is already starting to go all over the place. You feel like you got a fire under your butt. It's not a healthy way to start your day, because how you start your day ripples into the rest of the day, and it carries a tone. If you start with some mindfulness, like meditation, prayer, journal writing, it helps you be very aware of how you're spending every moment going forward throughout your day. Huge. So work on your inner turmoils, your pains, your root causes, your stresses. Point 1. Point 2, add long-term satisfying habits, the exercise, the meditation, learn something new, go for walks, go to nature. Nature is key. That's what I'm doing right now, as you could tell. Get outside, go sit by a river, you will feel better an hour later, I promise you. Keep your electronics away from you when you go on that walk, when you go out to nature. Right? So the thing that I mentioned, start your day on a proper tone, on a regulated tone, on a not on a bunch of peaks and valleys of sugar rushes and cortisol spikes and so on. And I want to wrap this video up with saying that this stuff takes practice. Have grace with yourself. Have patience. It gets better with practice. I've noticed that there's peaks and valleys to progress, like anything in life. You might have a good week on your journey, but then you might slip for a week. But don't give up and don't beat yourself up. Look at those slips as opportunities to learn and grow. Take data, like, what is it that triggered me to start eating a bunch of junk food? What is it that triggered me to start smoking cigarettes again after I quit for a week? Maybe it's something that my boss said and it pissed me off. So write about that stuff. Pray about that stuff if you're a prayer person. Meditate on that stuff. Can you maybe have a better mindset about that situation that threw you off? I learned personally that a lot of times things that were repeating through my childhood, like angry at authority, it leaked over into my relationships with my boss. And if my boss said something, it would trigger some angry feelings, and that would make me more likely to indulge in junk food or weed and those short-term dopamine inducing habits. So know thyself. That's what every mystic has said. Know your triggers and accept it. Be nice to yourself too, right? That's important. Be like, oh, okay, I get why. It's understandable. Be understandable why you slip up when you do slip on your peaks and valleys, because that will make it easier. If you're like beating yourself up all the time and shaming yourself into existence, it makes the healing, it makes the growth, it makes the progress a lot harder, I promise. So just brush it off and be like, okay, I see what I did, I get it. I'm going to have a new approach next time. I'm going to have a new mindset. And then you'll be right back on the horse and you'll have another good couple of weeks. So treat it as a journey. It gets better with practice. I promise you, somebody who's depressed and suicidal in the past, don't give up. Don't be like, oh, what's the point? Fuck this. And if you do, that's fine too, but pick yourself right back up, because entertaining those negative thoughts will make it so the out of control spiral is harder to get a hold of sometimes and grasp your center. And so mindset is key. Be soft on yourself. Don't give up. Know that it's a journey. Slips and falls are part of the process. So if you end up by liking this video, share it around with your friends, subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton when getting this content to a wider audience. Take care. Peace.